We are here. We are happy. We are your Geek Show. I'm Miss Shannon here with Rob Callahan. Good morning, Mr. Callahan.
Well, hello. How
Looking
are you?
very dapper today. Very dapper in the
sexy
grays.
voice again.
I know. You know what? The sexy voice worked for him that one week, and I feel like he's just all in on sexy voice now.
I don't have another voice. This is my only voice.
I've known you for years. You have another voice. You don't need to use it, but I like the sexy Rob Callahan voice. So, and always sexy as well. Jaden Satia is with us as well.
Hello. That's my new sexy voice.
Chipper and sexy. Nika Hotep, you are here. Welcome. Stop bitching. Don't start already.
Okay,
It's too early.
you know what? A drag queen didn't explode next to your house.
So this is what he's complaining about. Nika Hotep, our social media demon, bring everybody up to speed. He lives in a lovely lamp on my shelf.
It is gorgeous.
It is adorable. The dragons live on the lamp
and
the
they
shelf as
are
well.
horrible. Bad neighbors.
So in the spirit of the holiday season, I did some
Bah
decorating.
humbug.
We did some Christmas decorating, which will help us as well. So before we get to him bitching, let's do this first. Okay, so can you simmer down for a moment?
Yes.
Can we introduce our guest geeks
Absolutely.
this week before we start this?
Delicious.
He is, yes. And stay off him. He's married and I adore his wife. Leave him alone. So our guest geek this week, thank you very much for joining us. And it is our friend Christopher Grapp. You are the Senior Manager in Experiential Entertainment and New Marketing Director of all things great at the theaters in Mall of America, right? Your title was really long.
Mall of America. Not just theaters. Thanks for adding that in there. But no,
It's a long
nice.
acronym.
all over the place over there, yes.
Yes, and formerly did a lot of work with the Minnesota Film and TV Board, right? So you are. So when we need some, hey, I want to make a movie, and I don't know how I start or the people that I should invite or who I should talk to about it, we can still use you as a resource, right?
Absolutely. In a past life, yes, I worked for the Film Commission.
Nice.
My background's in feature production. It still runs through my veins. But yeah, absolutely.
And I appreciate what you do over at the Mall of America and all of that, because you actually have done some of the special programming, though, back to the theaters of the Mall of America. So there would be some cool things that would pop up every once in a while, like Trailer Trash was one of them. And so, tell us about that one, because that was one I was super excited about. I like that one. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, one of the things I do over at Mall of America is I book all the content and I develop all the alternative content as well. So one of the things was trying to incorporate local filmmakers into that as well, and also create some programming that would just build that sense of community, get people excited, and in the theater again, bring a sense of show back to the theater, because it's so rushed and hurried these days. We wanted to extend that out and make it more like a concert than just going to a movie. So we did a lot of different things, but I think the crown jewel, the thing that I had most fun with, was Trailer Trash.
Right.
My friend Tim Holly and I collect 35 millimeter trailers. We have over 1,000 at this point, and they go back as far as the 40s to modern day. And we'd treat it like a big cinematic mixtape, and we would just build a playlist of trailers. Our projectionist Ray would put them all together, add his own flair to them, and we'd just unleash them on the unsuspecting audience. And we wouldn't tell people what the trailers were. We'd leave hints in the posters and such, but trailers so often these days ruin the movies.
Yes.
So we figured we'd do an entire show about trailers and not tell them anything.
I mean, that Batman trailer was awesome.
Well, that's a movie that was hard to ruin because... Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think that, as we start with our, let me get our interesting beverage out this week. Did you hear it? I'll put
It
the
made a
cork back
pop.
in it. It did.
Yeah, it did. That's
That was
awesome.
her knuckle wrenching it off.
It was like, ugh. Okay.
And the interesting beverage is tears of all lifelong DC fans.
No, what it is courtesy of Mr. Gropp. And this was his suggestion, because he says that people bring up this particular beverage often when they find out his last name. This is actually grappa. Normally, it's started as an Italian beverage, kind of an aperitif that they would use usually have after a meal, because it does have a very intense alcohol content.
Yay!
Sure does.
Yeah, and so it normally has between 35 to 60% alcohol by volume, and the flavor is based upon what type of wine grapes you use. This one, instead of being an Italian grappa, I actually am using a American grappa today as our interesting beverage for your geek show. So this is the Clear Creek Distillery's Pinot Grigio version of grappa, and this one is 40% volume by 40% alcohol by
She's like
volume, so
80
80 proof,
proof.
80 proof.
Yeah.
So I'll pass
Great.
this out as we continue our discussion this morning about trailers.
It sounds almost as fancy as my title.
There's a lot going on with it.
Northwestern United States Pinot Grigio.
And the thing is about the trailers, like for instance, the new ones that came out this week. So an updated trailer for Batman versus Superman. We saw that. Some more interesting.
womp.
Now you say womp womp, Nika Hotep. You were not excited about this when I actually thought it was
not
okay.
so much. I mean, so I've got two big neuroses.
Yes.
One is
Only two?
Only
Only
two. Well,
two.
no, only two really big. One is
Okay.
airports. When we travel, you know this.
Yes, you do freak
I
out.
had to get to the airport at least 2.5 hours early so I can get through security because.
Next time I'll give you some grappa before we travel.
Right.
It'll be fine.
The other one is I have to get to the movie theaters to see all the trailers.
Yes.
Otherwise, I will have a miserable
So
time.
you get there in your seat about 20 minutes before.
Oh
at
yeah.
least.
Otherwise, I will
Sure.
just be
Like
pissed
you still
off.
got to watch the insultingly easy trivia.
Oh yeah. Oh
before
no, I
trailers
played the
even come
trivia
out.
with myself, and I win.
Are you the guy that yells it out and everybody?
It's C!
It's Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
And
It's funny because I actually just shout out amateur.
he does. It makes me cry. But I don't. We were talking about this before the show that the DC movie universe has turned into a
very dark, dire universe. They
Right.
had that no joke policy. We have banned whimsy from our films, that kind of thing. And so, but with the new one, it was more cheery than I thought it would be. There was actually kind of a joke in it. It wasn't as depressing as I thought it would be from what they had.
Are you talking
come
about
on.
the joke where Bizarro looks like a cave troll from Harry Potter?
No, I don't think so. I was actually
Doomsday?
like,
That's not Doomsday.
But if you compare that
The
to
Ninja
say,
That's if you look at the way that Lex Luthor builds him, it is Bizarro.
I would agree.
okay.
Yeah.
However,
I was just happy to see.
And Doomsday didn't have heat vision.
I was excited to see Jesse Eisenberg's character. I thought it was I did like his character in the trailer, and I liked, spoiler alert in a spoiler, kind of thing, because anybody had looked at it scene by scene, which we know a lot of our geek friends have. When we do have Wonder Woman show up at the end and the exchange they have between Batman and Superman, I was like, okay, funny enough. At least they know that there should be some sort of
the thing that
emotion and
grinds
irony.
my gears
Yes.
is I really think it's knee-jerk reaction to how Marvel's had success
Right.
in the cinematic universe.
Exactly,
Because
'cause-
these moments in the trailer are not earned moments. They're forced. Like
Right.
when you finally get to the Avengers and there's that shot of all of them working together, you had 4 or 5 movies before you got to that point. And now here it is. It's like, well, they fight, but in the trailer they make up and now they're together. And
Yeah.
well, here's Wonder Woman too.
and so I compared the Batman versus Superman trailer to the Civil War trailer.
Yes.
And the Civil War trailer just got my
You were so excited.
My parts all just
It's a
tingly.
splash.
But
Yeah,
had
it's a
that
splash.
been the second movie in
Right.
this shared universe, you'd be doing the same thing, going like, "What?
I
Why are
don't
you
think so.
throwing
Because
it all
I
at the
think it'll
screen?"
stand on its own. I mean, I think it would have stood on its own anyway, just because of the fact that I think it had enough of enough chops in it where it's like because
But there were moments of that I agree with Chris, where you're going, because I know them so well and they have built it, brick by brick, that by the time you get to like a scene between Tony Stark and
but-
Captain America, you're like, oh my gosh, okay, it did have a lot more emotional impact because we've had so much time to get to know them and watch their relationship grow and then falter and then grow.
So here's the other thing, though. With Civil War, I was comparing it to what the Civil War comic was, too. Because the Civil War comic was so vastly different
Right.
to
True.
what they're doing with the movie. Because I was like, what the heck?
And it is difficult to separate
Right.
the source material.
Exactly.
You find yourself,
and it's like,
eh.
what is Marvel going to do? Because they're totally jacking up the Marvel universe on the comic world. Which, by the
But
way,
I
I'm
thought
still
they
at
did
only
have-
12. I'm only at 12 signatures. I have
Oh my
only
God,
12
we're-
signatures.
Wait, that
I
is
forgot
not
about
expired
his
yet?
thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, pause before we start another argument. All right, who's doing the toast this week with our grappa?
Grappa should.
Grop, do you have a toast?
Yeah, I always have one prepared because I'm in a frat. No, I don't. But I'll just say thank you all for having me on the show. This is a lot of fun, and this is my first time enjoying this beverage. So I'm very curious, and hopefully we all don't regret all the choices we
There
made
we go.
today.
Oh,
Thank you,
cheers.
guys.
We've had enough of these.
Yeah. We've had worse interesting beverages, I'm sure.
Oh,
Is that glue? Did you put glue in there?
That is a very Not a subtle, interesting beverage we have this week. Not subtle at all.
This is the second worst we've ever had.
I kind of think so. Like, it's one of those things that's clear. I
What
like
was the
fact-
worst?
That's what happens when you go with the cheap American-made
Right.
stuff.
You know what? Here's the thing.
You know what this is? This is an aperitif for destruction.
Did somebody
is.
bless this?
It's not flavorful at all. It's very just
God.
if when you smell it, definitely just alcohol. All you smell is just alcohol. It could be used.
And
You could use it
desperation.
to clean things.
We're going.
It definitely.
We're going off book, but this is a perfect segue into. I brought you guys some gifts as well.
What?
Thank you. So Nick and I can share.
Yeah.
Nick, do you want to open it?
We'll share. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, because
Go ahead.
the grappa.
Callahan all of a sudden disappeared
Oh, you got sugar packets.
for the first time ever in this on your geek show. He was just gone. I'm like, it wasn't that bad, man. Come on.
I think that if the process they use to make the grappa sounds very complicated, when they're just distilling the skins, the pulp, and the seed and the stems. And the one
Thank
they-
you.
Listen to
oh,
this,
candy.
guys.
Oh, good idea.
So if we want to continue the trend with awful flavors,
Yes, we can do that
We
because
can. We
he
have
did
the,
provide us with the Bean Boozled. Are you guys familiar with the Bean Boozled?
Oh, these are.
So Bean Boozled is actually really fun because it has your favorite
Is it kind of like the
jelly
Harry
beans.
Potter, like where
Yeah.
you taste different?
Right.
they're just
well,
not paying the license
because-
anymore, and they're
yeah.
doing their own thing.
Right,
Nice.
so they are because there's the delicious ones that you have that you'd like you can have a tutti frutti or you can have a lime.
There's
but
a
then you
baby
can also
wipes.
Yep, or lawn clippings.
Used
or
baby
the
wipes?
skunk spray. You can get the skunk spray. Oh, did you shoot yours?
dog
He
food.
shoots it all the time.
Every time, just so you know, Chris, every time we get something,
I brought
That's
sugar
a drink.
packets in, so
he ends up, Nick Hotep just goes all in and just pounds it. Yeah.
And so they grabs the shot.
You gotta shoot it.
But
Yeah,
the
I
problem
don't
is,
want it to linger anymore. Let's just get through this.
see,
Exactly.
now you guys were like complaining
It's
before that I
so-
only got one tiny bottle of it.
It's last call. Just go.
Woo!
It's last call, and she's not pretty.
So there's the Batman versus Superman trailer. Did you guys also see the trailer that was released last night for The Nice Guys?
No.
You
Really?
must you must do it immediately. Written
Okay.
and directed by Shane Black, starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. It comes out in June. It looks absolutely fantastic.
It's called Nice Guys.
The
Ryan
Nice Guys.
Gosling.
Yep.
Be right back.
You're watching that,
Shane
right?
Black can't even make a PG-13 trailer. It is a red band trailer.
Nice.
It is fantastic. It's almost its own perfect short film.
What's the studio?
Warner Brothers.
Nice.
Is he left in there? Oh, yeah.
I'll be right back after to the
Do
bathroom.
you want? I can pull it up. Oh,
'cause-
stop it! It's just
stop.
Ryan
Just put your
Gosling.
phone
Just
away.
please stop it. I'll pull it up for all of us. And I like the fact that Chris, a part of what you do is like so based in nostalgia. Like you really do know what you're dealing with. Because even when I was like, okay, we find it interesting music for everybody to do, Mr. Callahan, and I really did appreciate what Chris, what you picked. Because I remember from our youth, Perfect Strangers. Did you guys watch the show? I loved the show.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Starring Bronson Pinchot and Marklyn Baker. Two interesting young men moved to Chicago for the first time. Marklyn Baker from his character Larry. Wait, here we go. It kicks in right here. You ready? Everybody sing. There we go. It's the emotion. Back when our theme songs.
That was the thing. There was such an honest optimism to the Friday night lineup.
Yes.
Like, we can do this together, guys.
And the TGIF Friday, the TGIF lineup back then. And I was glad when they landed there because Perfect Strangers was one of the shows that I watched. I think originally it started on like a Tuesday, and they bopped it around a lot before it became part of their anchor for Friday nights. We're like, yes, this is where you deserve
America
to live.
spoke, and they said, we need to close our work week with this.
Yeah, exactly. And
it
I
in
remember
there.
I had I had alternating crushes on Bronson Pinchot and Marklyn Baker. I went and got the TV guide. And I had cut out their little photos, and they were probably on my
'Cause they
wall
weren't
of
in
fame.
Tiger Beat.
No, they were not. And I've been a geek for a long time. A lot of the people that I had crushes on were not in Tiger Beat. My giant Richard Dean Anderson poster was not in Tiger Beat.
MacGyver wasn't on beat.
No,
No,
he wasn't. Tiger
absolutely
Beat
not.
was all, and Tiger Beat, you could end up in, like, people that, like, who was in it? Sean Astin ended up in it. Like, he was
Sure.
in it.
The Coreys.
The Coreys were in
Had
it.
to be in there.
Okay.
There were lots of those things that were going on. And
All the
so,
Goonies, pretty much.
Yes,
Yeah.
all ended up
All
in
of
Tiger
them.
Beat. No, MacGyver not in there. So no Richard Dean Anderson, no Mark Lynn Baker. And then the other thing about Tiger Beat, there were some people that I liked that accidentally ended up in there. Like Johnny Depp was in it, so they had to put Peter DeLuise, who was on 21 Jump Street with him, and you could tell they're like, they begrudgingly put Peter DeLuise in here. And
Yeah,
I
the
was like,
studio is giving notes like, if you're taking Depp, well, you got to throw in DeLuise.
I was like,
Got to
but
throw
he's
us
the
one.
charming, cute one. Darn. All right. So, but yeah, so I remember watching, that was back when I really liked sitcoms. And that was part of it because it had that same feel of the inspiration where it came from, like a Mork and Mindy and those kind of things, where like these two characters that you just really are rooting for them. And Balky's supposed to be the silly one who always messes up the plan, but then it turns out that Larry, he's kind of inept too and messes everything
That's
up. So they
right.
were so charming together and just trying to figure out what they're going to do. So it was a lot of fun.
You-
Always a
Laugh
lesson to
track.
be learned.
I do not lead a laugh
And I
track.
said you hated the laugh track.
Oh, I hate laugh track still, but the rest of the show I thought
the
was
worst.
great. Yes.
They're the worst.
Yeah, so and so that was back when feeling nostalgic was still an okay thing, and I think that's really is just a testament to you, Chris, because you are good at the nostalgia.
Well,
and
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
do
very
great
much.
at that. So picking the perfect strangers, knowing the things about trailer trash, and of course what you do every year with the Star Wars Holiday Special. And you've been doing this now for how many years?
I've been doing this as a Toys for Tots event for 9 years now.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Chris ties in the local community and actually causes behind this. It's not just him just doing for fun, just because he has access to the theaters. I'm just going to throw this up, and then even if it's just me watching it, he actually does it for a purpose, and I love that about you and what you do.
Well, thank you. The other ones that I really liked that we did at theaters at Mall of America were Swayze Days of Summer, which we did in conjunction with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. So we'd celebrate around Patrick Swayze's birthday for the last 2 years and do a Swayze double feature, and all the proceeds go to the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. And then our Movember movie series. So for the last 3 years, we'd feature movies with well-mustachioed leading men, and again, free, just suggested donation that all went back to the Movember charities. It's a lot of fun.
What
And
is it, Mall? Think about that. I mean, because this is new. New isn't like when you took the reins. That's when this started to happen, and it's a great buzz around the local film community for what you do. How does a mall, as a big conglomerate, take it?
Thank you. Well, they took over the theaters about 5 or 6 years ago now, and so when I started there, for me, it was an opportunity. We own our own theaters, and people didn't recognize that. So it was an opportunity to create some unique content and involve the community and do some different things that other people can't do because they have to jump through all these hoops. So for me, again, it goes back to building that community and sharing that experience with strangers. 2 hours in the dark. It's my favorite thing, where we can all go and watch something together. I don't know you. It doesn't matter. We're laughing together. We're scared together. So being able to bring that out there, and at the same time, because of my experience with the Film Commission, I knew we had just a wealth of talent in the state. So being able to take some of those short films and pair them with feature films that had similar tone and give filmmakers an opportunity to see their work with a real audience.
Right.
Same thing with, like, we showed the movie Death to Prom. We gave them a 1 week theatrical run, Insectula. So people are voting with their dollars. Like, it's easy when you're at a fest, or it's easy when you do a cast and crew screening to get, everybody's excited and fun, but we really should judge these things against what Hollywood is putting out there, and it's been interesting and it's been fun, and I appreciate the opportunity. But back to your question, they don't necessarily get it, but they've been supporting it.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's something.
I mean, clearly they've been
Of
letting
course.
me go with a lot of this stuff. So
And you have a great team out there too. I love everybody that works on staff,
Right.
at the theaters as well. Emerald is amazing.
Emerald is amazing, and I'll tell you, Ray.
Ray. He's those typical, like, yep, I'll get it done. But he's got so much. He's so calm and collected.
Yes.
But he's got so much knowledge behind it. Like you said, he also throws in a little bit of a flavor of his own.
Absolutely.
And I can see that. I've talked to him a few times. He's just a great guy.
And it took a minute. Like, when I first showed up, like, all right, okay, guys, here's what we're doing. And they're going, like,
I have
what?
plans. Yeah.
What? But Ray and Emerald especially really jumped on board and started supporting these things. And to see how excited they get about it, too, makes it a lot of fun for us to do. But yeah, Ray is so knowledgeable, and he's as integral to trailer trash as anybody. You know, Tim and I, it's very easy for us to take a look at the stacks of trailers and put them together. But the fact that Ray can add his little touches to them, 2 trailer trashes ago, he overlaid our digital projector onto what was being projected from the 35. So the G.I. Joe trailer came up, and he was projecting like almost like John Carpenter's They Live, like
Wow.
obey, conform. And I didn't know he was doing this, and it was awesome. And then about midway through, there was just a slug for like 2 minutes, and the lights went up in the theater. Someone had been using their cell phone, and I'm thinking, oh man, these are our people. They should know better than to text during the movie. And Ray was in the back with me, and he's like, sorry, I'll be right back. And the lights came up, and the screen went dark, and he walked up there, and he's like, sorry, ma'am, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We don't allow texting in the theater. But he had set it all up. Like, he built it into the show.
Fun.
To put that in there. And it's, man, Ray,
Nice.
you dog, you rascal. But it's been a lot of fun.
And do you think that makes a difference when people don't know that you guys manage your own theaters at the mall to need to be able to do that differentiating type content and have different things that pop up to enable to let yourself compete against other theaters in the Twin Cities? Or
Absolutely. You can go.
just so you know, the sugar is not helping the grappa at all. The sugar,
You have to shoot it. You have to shoot
the
it.
sugar is not
Chase it
assisting
with some
this.
of these novelty jelly beans. I found that
I just had barf.
And it was better.
The lawn clippings actually really does wash this down.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's allowing people to make a choice, and if you can build that audience with some of the alternative content, you can go see Spectre anywhere,
Right.
You know. But if we show you a good time with trailer trash or tape freaks or horror for the holidays, hopefully you'll want to come back and have a similar experience with us. And so, yeah, there's building that sense of community, which has been great. I've made so many friends through doing this stuff. But it's also great. Like, the biggest reward is seeing people react to what you're putting on screen. And, you know, selfishly, my thought, similar to with the Star Wars Holiday Special, like I didn't know anybody in town when I was doing this. And I figured if I can do this, I'll meet like-minded people, and we'll start to have some fun. And
Which is what I tell people because when you bring up the Star Wars Holiday Special, so some people are familiar with it slightly, they hear about it, they might not have had a chance to see it. But the thing about the Star Wars Holiday Special, when it came out in 1978, you know, I think all of us were close enough to all the same age. Like, even if you remember it from back then, you don't remember it well. You know that? But that was when I remember holiday specials being destination programming for my family. Like, my mom and I would go, neat, we're going to have the Love Boat
Well, it's a TV
Holiday
guide,
Special.
right? You look at the TV guide,
and
you
you
look
see
at,
that it's
we got to
coming.
be home by 6:30 because starting at
Exactly.
7 o'clock.
and if you
so-
miss it,
It's done.
there's
yeah.
no DVR.
Right.
Yeah.
There's
and
no Blu-ray.
so I can imagine getting excited, and I didn't see back then. I can imagine getting excited going, oh, there's going to be a Star Wars holiday special. Because my mom and I, you know, that's why I'm a geek. My mom, that was the first movie my mom ever took me to was Star Wars. So I'm surprised she must have missed it somehow, because we would have sat down and watched this because we really did enjoy that kind of content. And so imagine that you're sitting down back then, and they go, okay, we are now going to preempt the Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman for the Star Wars Holiday Special. And you get excited.
Which sounds amazing on
right.
paper.
It sounds like it's the perfect demographic.
On TV guide
Right.
paper, that is like, yes, it
These
should
people
be.
would have been watching this block anyway. This is where we'll put it. And so
great,
you're like,
great placement.
Correct.
Right, leading. So those shows should get a bump.
And they start it for a second, and you see this opening scene. So if you haven't seen, you see this scene, and there's two of your favorite Star Wars characters, like Han Solo and Chewbacca start.
They
and
get
you're
you
like,
hooked.
They look a
neat.
little different already.
Right,
Because
you're
it's
like,
not film.
Right. It's a little
video.
shaky.
That's very true.
shaky.
Okay, something different here.
The cockpit of the Falcon is a little wobbly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
You're
Little
like,
off
but
kilter.
I'm still with it. I'm still with it. And then we get to the point, and I have the intro here. So we have their intro scene, and then they start introducing the cast of characters that are going to keep you engaged in television on CBS
next 2
for the
hours.
next 2 hours.
So far, it's perfect.
Already
And you're like,
goosebumps.
yes, right.
Yeah.
So excited.
Can't wait till next Friday or next Wednesday.
Ta-da.
Starring starring Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
And signed it.
Harrison Ford as Han Solo.
Oh,
Well
yeah.
done. Right, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia.
Well
Oh,
done.
yep.
Yay.
Yes. Glad she's there. Needed her.
Wait,
Anthony
slave
Daniels
outfit.
as C-3PO.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. See, we love him.
Intonation's a little weird.
Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca.
Gotta have him. Right.
R2-D2 as R2-D2.
See, Joy. A couple jokes there. Haha. See what you did
James
there.
Earl Jones as the voice of Darth Vader.
Nice.
Perfect.
Stack them.
Which, if I remember, that was when we were like, that's by then he's actually credited as it. So he's all like, I'll
Right.
claim this one, which I'm sure turned out to be a bad
He's
decision
like,
later.
what
So,
was I
and then we
doing?
go on to who else am I going to be graced with joy for the next 2 hours? They're going to be on my TV. Who else?
Introducing Chewbacca's family.
What?
Questionable.
His wife Mala.
His what?
Chewbacca's
You had a wife?
His father Itchy.
Huh?
Itchy.
Why?
Itchy?
Itchy Baka?
His son Lumpy.
Lumpy. Lumpy. The best
Wait.
they could come up with is itchy and lumpy. At this point,
Mala,
that's when
Itchy, and Lumpy.
Right. Mala, I was on board with. All right, Mala. Okay.
so-
Still all
That
right.
sounds like a.
Malabaka, okay.
part of
Mala
part of the ulterior motive for having the Perfect Strangers theme is if you took that theme song and played it over the opening credits for the Star Wars Holiday Special, I think it'd be perfect. Like, wait, Chewbacca lives with his dad?
Right. Whose name is Itchy? That
Where did you-
doesn't
and then
sound
you got to
hygienic
see
at all.
Itchy
And
and his
Itchy, you're
face.
like, fair enough. All right, he
With the
does look
craziest
itchy.
underbite.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Jaw jets. Oh.
And
White
the
hair.
kid's name is Lumpy? No wonder he had a poor self-image. You
upset.
can't
Those
call
weren't
kids
their
itchy.
real names.
The worst verbs ever.
Right. And so you're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be what I thought it was
is gonna
going
be
to
a
be.
Disney
But then it keeps
cartoon.
going.
No.
Wait, because you need guest stars, right?
With special guest stars. Beatrice Arthur.
Oh,
Okay,
yes!
yes, yes.
And then there's
Three
Maud.
Golden Girls.
Art Carney.
Art Carney,
All
big
right.
deal back then.
Yes.
Sweet, yes.
Diane Carroll.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
I love me some,
What?
I
What?
love me some
Huh?
Diane Carroll.
The Jefferson Starship.
And that's when you go,
I thought
wait.
I thought you were
And then
gonna say the
if we had
Jeffersons. I
if
like-
we were DJing with a record scratch, you go,
I thought he was going to stop with George and Wheezy.
who dropped acid in the programming meeting? Jefferson Starship. All right, wait, who else?
Harvey Korman.
Really?
Right.
And an animated Star Wars story on the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Wait a second.
An
There's a
animated
Is this
Star Wars story. You're like,
the
wait,
Clone
a
Wars?
cartoon?
Is this the
Oh,
Clone
is that-
Wars?
No, it's actually like heavy metal
like
style
Robert
for no
Smigol's
reason.
animated.
I got a bad feeling about
And
this.
so now everybody's sitting there going, Mom, I don't know. Is this...
But okay, hold on.
All right, so then-
imagine you're watching this live.
Yes.
Are you still excited the fact that they stacked it high at the beginning? Like,
And
okay.
nothing has
And then
happened
you're like,
thus
okay, you
far
know what?
that you
Maybe,
turned it off.
Maybe the Chewy stuff is kind of like secondary or tertiary to like they have to mention it because there's the actors, but it's really about
To be
have Maud.
fair,
They have
you know,
Maud.
variety shows were huge back then.
Correct.
That's
Right.
what people were tuning in for. And this level of talent in 78 was probably like, this can't be beat.
Right.
How are we
Right.
integrating these people into the Star Wars universe?
They're
I can't
like,
wait
wait,
to see.
we
Right,
have
right. They had Maud.
Starship.
They had Maud.
But see, and when you watch it, you're like, all right, B. Arthur, that kind of makes sense. All right, and you need to have things. All right, Diane Carroll, all right, she's all right, that's cool. We got a little diversity, throw that in there, that's cool. But then you start watching it, and then the fact that once you get to past your two primary characters, so you see Han Solo, you see Chewie, and you start the storyline, which you want to bring us up to speed on the storyline. So,
Yeah.
what are we trying to accomplish?
Well,
Like, what are we doing?
I guess I think what's great about this too is you have to put it in the context of watching it live for the first time. So we see Han Solo, Chewbacca, Millennium Falcon, we're in. Opening credit sequence, the music hits,
All in.
we're in. This list of stars, great. Commercial break, we've got a breather.
Right.
Okay.
Go get the popcorn, the Jiffy Pop, because old school, you did the Jiffy Pop. We didn't have microwaves
yeah.
back then. Jiffy Pop's ready. We're ready.
Now
Yes.
we come back and it's a painting. It's a Ralph McQuarrie painting. We're like, okay, dodgy, but I'll take it. And we realize we're on Kashyyyk, the Wookiee homeworld. And for the next 9 minutes, it's all in Wookiee.
And no subtitles.
No subtitles.
Just inferring what Wookiee means, got a thing. And it's Mala and Itchy and
Lumpy.
and Lumpy. talking.
You're like, wait a second, is the show over?
Yeah,
What is
and then
this?
they continue to talk.
it really sets
It's a
itself up.
home life situation of Wookiees now. And you're like, no, really, they're going to
From
stop
the
doing
outset,
this.
They want you to hate it. Because you don't know what's happening or why it's happening.
It's just, it's a Leave It to Beaver style situation where you
And to
don't
your-
know what they're saying.
To your point,
at
it's
all.
not 30 seconds.
No.
It's a good 10 minutes.
Right. Of Wookiee going
Yes.
back.
And everybody's looking at each other.
Okay.
I'm assuming everybody's looking at each
That's
other
what I'm
like,
saying. I'm like, Nick,
what?
do your Wookiee again.
What do they say?
They take you from this emotional high, like this is on TV, this is great, because still this is probably not on Laserdisc or VHS at this
No.
point, where we can enjoy Star Wars all the time. We're waiting
Isn't
for
that
the next movie.
MP3, MP4?
And so here you are, you get some Star Wars in your living room, and they just immediately start bludgeoning you.
Yes, and you're like, wait, no, they're still talking in Wookiee. More Wookiee chat. So much Wookiee chat.
What's wrong with our television set?
And that's when, now that we're older,
Like,
we
with
go,
this-
this
so, like-
is where the budgets start coming in. And this is when you realize, you're like, wait a minute. They probably are like, Carrie Fisher, like, I'm only going to do this. Mark Hamill's like, I'm only doing this. This is how much time they're willing to do. Kind of thing. So, yes, Wookiees, inexpensive. Inexpensive are the Wookiees. More chatting with the Wookiees.
I thought it was more of a writing issue. Like they're like, okay, we got a half an hour's worth of good solid comedy to do. We got a 2-hour slot. What are we gonna do? We'll throw in some more Wookiees grunting at each other.
But that part's not the funny
Why
part.
do
But
you
I
lead
do
with that?
like,
Why do you lead with the Wookiees? I mean, is it
because
like-
you need to you need the foundational base of the emotional. You're right, because it is all about the Wookiees. It's all about Chewie's family and waiting to see if Chewie's gonna make it home.
I think it's because it was George Lucas owned the rights to the merchandising. And so there's already Han Solo and Leia and Luke and all that stuff. So we got to create some new characters so I can put out new figures.
And he's like, Wookiees, they're
That's
cuddly.
that's my guess. And that's why
And
you
Chewbacca
lead with
is a lovable character.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So why not exploit that and give him a family?
Named Lumpy and Itchy. And then that's when things continue to go awry. Because back
Can
then
you imagine
do
the Mala action figure with like a little the plastic apron that you can take off?
Mom Baka. And so
Mom
Mom
Baka.
Baka's doing like Mom Baka stuff, including and Harvey Korman. And I was a fan of Harvey Korman, because
Carol
want to
Burnett.
be a comedian.
Carol
So
Burnett.
anybody that's funny, I'm like, okay, cool. So big on the Harvey. Harvey Korman has numerous characters in this holiday special that are borderline inoffensive in modern times. They're like, yeah. I'm like,
fair.
can't do that, couldn't do that now. Including one of the characters that he plays is he's doing a cooking demonstration that Mala / Mom Baka is watching because she needs to go, hey, what's the new hotness in the kitchen? I'm
Because
gonna
she's
watch
cooking
this.
a meal
Yes,
for the
Life Day, the holiday,
She has to
and
be in
so
the kitchen.
she's in the kitchen,
Right.
in
'Cause
her
that's what
Mom Baka,
does.
Mom Baka's in there going, what should I make for Life Day? And so Harvey Korman
And
plays.
this is, if you haven't seen it, this is where there's a Wookiee actually wearing an apron.
Correct. Who is now watching a cooking show on her small TV, and the character is is Harvey Korman dressed up in what we know is now what an old school Rachel Ray telling you what you should make for the holiday, and that part is when you go.
take the chicken.
Bantha.
Right.
You take
But
the
worse.
bantha. You take the bantha.
Hold on.
Hello.
Thank you, Mom
Today
Baka.
we are going to be preparing a very succulent dish called Bantha Surprise.
Yes, we
And
are.
guess what we are ready for now? The cooking.
Someone's urinating.
Step 1. We stir the mixture.
There's a fall on the floor.
Stir.
I've seen you cut
Very nice.
myself.
Now, step 2. While we're stirring, we also whip. So it's stir, whip, stir.
Yes.
Stir, whip,
Okay,
stir,
so
whip,
I saw Danny
whip,
Aykroyd do this.
And at this point, we still have, and you have to keep in mind that we are supposed to be in a galaxy far, far away. So it's not like he's dressed up as a normal Rachel Ray. And I know back then it was old school.
or
too
Julia
much about Julia Child.
Julia Child.
But with
Right.
the cooking, sharing, and everything going
Right,
on, so
right.
it does make sense in context. But of course, he still has to be an alien Julia Child. So he's purple, and then of course we can do the stir and the whipping, but we have to have a third arm pop out suddenly. And we're like, yes, well done, because that's what we do. And I give
I mean,
The writers, this is the part that I appreciate now, and I'm sure as Shannon, mini Shannon back then have been like, what happened? But now I'm like, okay, Harvey Korman, brilliant. Like, actually, because he has a cast of characters that he plays and pops in and out that are all ridiculous, but he executes so well.
Well, I think that's key as well. Is I'm sure when they made the original Star Wars, there wasn't a lot of money.
Right.
They're doing this on a budget. So here we have an opportunity. We're going to pay some of you. You're going to come back. You're going to, the main cast.
Right.
But they're not into it. This is ridiculous. So they're just kind of walking through it. But then it contrasts the people that are kind of like these regular variety show players who are giving it their all. They're taking it seriously.
Harvey Korman was great.
So
He's
really
fine. Like,
disjointed.
he's happy to be there. And Carney's happy to be there.
Right,
He's not
'cause
like
he's not-
Honeymooner's been done. Comes in super excited about his character, and I do
And
enjoy.
this is Star Wars.
Yes,
Right.
and
It
so
still has a Star Wars stamp of approval.
if I'm
on
Harvey
it.
Korman and all of a sudden I'm the stir whip person,
Now, step 3. We also have to beat.
Yes,
So
you do
it's
beat.
Beat.
Okay, also at this
stir, whip,
had Dan
stir,
Aykroyd
whip,
done his
beat.
his Julia Child impression, which is I got cut and he starts to bleed out as Julia Child.
No, Dan Aykroyd hadn't done any of that. So no.
No, okay.
No. So Harvey Korman, he is the perfect person to have in this back in 1978. He's on fire. So that's why if you're our parents and you're watching the intro for it, like Harvey Korman, I'm co-signing that. Yes, I'm so happy he's here. This is going to be comedy genius. And his characters are very well executed. And if I would
Stir. That's not right. I'm sorry. Stir, whip, stir.
There's nothing
whip,
wrong with
whip,
what he
whip,
did
stir,
in
beat,
context.
Stir, whip, stir, whip,
Other than that,
whip,
it's in
whip,
Star Wars,
stir,
and we're watching somebody cook.
And Mom Baka going, yes, I'm stirring and whipping.
So let's take a pulse of these people who are actually watching this live. Right? What are the reactions in that living room?
I think they're laughing still. What do you think?
I don't,
guess-
because
you
you
don't
have
think
to
they're
remember.
laughing?
Imagine
this
who's
is
watching
after,
this.
This is after 10 minutes
Right.
of Wookiee garble.
Yes, a lot of Wookiee garble. Yes,
And
that's
you're
true.
you're already probably at that point going from that huge high to now it's diminishing because
Correct.
it's going.
To a cooking show.
So now we kind
With
of
a
flatten
lot
out.
of Mom Baka.
I don't
Mom
know-
Baka cooking.
I don't know
Right.
that you come back from the 9-10 minutes of.
Right.
But
Do you
then
ever
you
make
can-
it even close to that high?
But then I think that you also are concerned because we do the Mom Baka, and then we not only we move into more scenes of we understand Mom Baka, but now there's a whiny teenage Wookiee. So that's what Lumpy is, whiny teenage Wookiee the entire time. And then a kind of creepy older Wookiee dad, that's waiting, and you're like, when's Chewbacca gonna get home and fix all of
with
this?
his interspecies porno machine.
Yes. And you need to explain that for anybody
Yeah,
who
yeah,
hasn't
go ahead.
seen it. Go ahead. Yeah. So So one of you. So Chris, Rob, one of you bring everybody up to speed on this whole thing. Okay.
I want to just first, in defense of the Harvey Korman bit,
I like Harvey Korman.
there are two potentially very strong gags going on at once, and one is Korman doing the cooking show, and then like the arms come out, like, oh, here's another laugh, here's another arm.
And it's very Mrs. Doubtfire. Even I like the
but
concept.
The
I
other
know why
one
they did
is,
it.
Is the joke of someone watching a cooking show and trying to keep up and cook at the same time.
Right.
I think that that Mala's comedic timing was not all it could have been.
Mom Baka let you
Because-
down. Okay.
She had all that
like,
fur to deal with.
If they had put like Carol Burnett in the costume and had her playing that part, that would have been an amazing sketch.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I would agree with that, or
All
even
right.
like a hairnet.
Yes. All right. There we go.
A body net?
Yes, something along those lines.
Because there's parts of it that as an adult, I'm like, I really want to like this. And it's so garbagey. And there's this, like, Diane Carroll, beautiful woman. You're like, you can see why they cast her, why they put her in there. Like, we need some disco hotness. It's the 70s.
Right.
We need some disco hotness. Throw it in here. Then it turns super awry because Chewbacca, Dad Baka, Granddad Baka, got a thing. His dad's in a VR machine
Because Art
in the
Carney
living room.
supplies him
Right.
with some sort of VR cartridge.
VR red tube.
Something.
Right.
Yeah.
VR red tube, Pornhub,
Yep.
whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
in the living room because that's what you do on Life Day. On as you're getting ready for Life
Oh,
Day.
you get to a certain age, you don't care who's watching.
Yeah, right. Mom, what's Granddad doing in that chair in the middle of the living room?
We don't ask questions.
Doesn't matter.
Or translate it into Wookiee. What is we don't ask? Right.
Just don't bother him.
Does he think we can't see him? So it from that point on, it really goes from like jaw-dropping bizarrity to can it get any weirder?
And do you
But
like-
then there's Maude.
Well, it just keeps going. So you're watching Chewbacca's dad
Yes.
being seduced through
in a VR situation by Diane Carroll.
And
So the interspecies part of it, I'm like, that was very forward. That was very,
Absolutely.
progressive of them.
Wisconsin
In a se-
supports it.
Yeah,
All their horseplay over there.
exactly.
supports
That's
everything.
Oh my God,
I
Wisconsin.
love Wisconsin.
Wisconsin
On
and the
Wisconsin, go Badgers.
Just in case, because you seem to understand Nick, but so for Mr. Satya and for Mr. Callahan, they've had a recurrence of the. There's a guy there who has his second offense of molesting a horse. He molested a horse a year ago.
It's horrible.
Offender.
Yeah,
It's
so
horrible.
he is a multiple offender of the horse molestation, and he's up again on it. And because the one time,
Is he
obviously,
running
the
for
horse-
state office?
He should.
He would make governor.
Yes, and so him, yeah. So in Wisconsin, they are fine with the progression, obviously, as far as it includes some sort of interspecies play.
We all love animals.
It's what you get when you're a Badger.
And so remind me, so Rob, as far in our holiday special thing, what was after? What do we have next?
Don't forget Maude. You can't
Oh, we'll
forget
come to it.
Maude.
The cartoon.
Oh, okay. So we're not. No. We've talked about.
I didn't pull any clips of Maude, but
Boo.
my
I'll pull it
favorite
up while
part-
you're doing it. Okay.
The thing about that is if at the end of
And
her
she
big
wasn't
song and
Maude
dance
there,
number, and this goes back to like the variety show people like really giving it their all. She really did. Like there's a moment at the end of her big song and dance when like everyone's out of the bar and suddenly you find out, oh, the bartender, the person who runs the parties, is actually like very lonely and not happy about it.
Yes.
There's this like the one moment you feel something in this whole show is
I said we're closed.
there she
Look,
goes.
I'm sorry, we are closed. The Empire just imposed a curfew on this planet. Everybody has to leave right now.
And she's so charming, and she looks good in here. Oh,
Torque, I don't want any more trouble. You
B. Arthur
Torque
just
is a
trying
troublemaker.
to. Yeah, B. Arthur just trying to like
go
keep
on
everything going in a bar.
And then there's the one alien guy with the crush on her that like pours alcohol into the vagina on his head.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm not feeling that right now. I keep kicking you out of here, but I bring you back because you're kind of sexy because it's lonely on the planet.
Right. And then there's Maude.
All right. All right.
All right, Rob, can you bring this up a little bit?
I can take a hint.
Oh, are we doing the song?
We'll bring the song in.
This one's on the house.
I like her ponytail.
I mean,
Run a
seriously.
tab for the Empire.
B. Arthur singing the Star Wars in the Star Wars.
I mean, seriously. How can you go wrong with
And
B.
this
Arthur?
part, I feel like the writers are like, we're bringing it back around. Okay, this makes sense in Star Wars a
Right.
bit, Chris, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, but we
Chris is-
really
he's burying his face in his hands. He's Callahaning.
we
He's totally
threw
Callahan.
logic out the window already.
Then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me. In your
Don't forget me.
This is still Star Wars, yeah?
This is
Yes.
still Star
Okay.
Wars.
Because-
this is in the cantina that we all
In case you
know
didn't
and love.
know, B. Arthur, her character, owns the cantina.
Right.
Like, you didn't know that. We learned this.
Totally
And I
badass.
think that this is part of
So
the
integral
Star
to the
Wars
story.
holiday special is canon. Like, there's stuff that's important
But-
that comes out in the Star Wars holiday
It's
special.
true, but here's the thing that gets me as well is Darth Vader
Yes.
appears on the Death Star, which was blown up
Wow.
and has yet to be rebuilt.
Death Star
Right.
2.0.
So-
okay.
Time travel.
Because
He's a
we
time
reuse
lord.
footage, or we use footage that hasn't been shown yet, and
Right.
it's on the Death Star, and there he is doing his thing. They just no one was,
Time
everyone,
lord.
no one
Time
was
lord.
paying attention.
But this is when
just
you really,
happened.
back to our variety show conversation, when you have a Harvey Korman and a B. Arthur, when you're like, that was when actors and performers were triple threats. We're like, yeah, I can do a little dancing, I'll do some singing if I need to. Yes, I act as well. And B. Arthur's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna throw down. You know, it's a holiday special. Yes, I have a song.
I can throw this out.
And what's fun too when you see this with an audience, there's so many people that come into this, and it's shocking every year how many don't know that this is a real thing. That will either show up thinking we're doing
think you
something
just
that
made
we're
it,
calling
yeah.
the Star Wars Holiday Special. But we know B. Arthur differently now than people did back in the late
Right.
70s. So they think of Golden Girls, and they're just blown away by what is she doing? Why is this happening?
And then came Maude.
Absolutely great.
And it's like, no, she was so popular.
Yep.
And it's so fun to actually see her because it does make sense for her to be in this back then. And, and back to what Chris was saying about people just, since they showed it on that November night in 1978 and then it just disappeared, a lot of people don't know. Like, they think, like, when I go, have you seen it? People are still like, no. And I'm like, oh, you need to come watch this. Because it does make a difference. Because some people, because you can find stuff on YouTube, they may have seen it in their home by themselves. And you go, this is trash. I'm not saying it's not. But when you see it in a group setting, it's so much fun. Like to be able to sit there with a cocktail with other like-minded friends and go, this is when I do stir, whip, stir. Thanks to Harvey Korman. It does make you like it more.
So, Chris, how do you let people know about these events?
Really, it's word of mouth, and it's grown over the years. The first year I did it, 12 people showed up. And then it grew from there. I got in touch with the 501st Legion, which is the volunteer group of Star Wars costume characters, and they have really taken this thing to another level. And year after year, they add to it. And it's more of an interactive experience. It's more Rocky Horror Picture Show than it is Star Wars Holiday Special.
And having it at Bryant Lake Bowl, I think, increases that as well, because it's the kind of venue where it's enough people can be in the room that you don't feel like it's like everybody's watching you. But there are certain parts where people do know, because they've seen it a couple times. Here's the part where I act out the cooking scene and there's going to be a stir scene. Or the part that comes up next about which Callahan mentioned. When they're alone. The random cartoon that starts all of a sudden. Which is a heavy metal cartoon fan. The heavy metal cartoon.
Absolutely.
The ship you seek is nearby.
Are the Imperial troops near this planet?
They are here, friend. And growing more powerful.
Thank you, Boba
I take
Fett.
it you have no love of the Empire.
Who, again, at the time...
I don't.
No,
Who's Boba Fett? And then you're
fair,
like, all right, I need you in here.
To be fair, this is the most badass Boba Fett is.
Right.
He's never been anything on screen. He's never been on screen and done anything cool except for in this cartoon.
Right.
It's when that
which you weren't
giant dinosaur
necessarily
that's
expecting.
immune to lasers comes up and
Yes.
Boba Fett chases it off.
Because even in the movies, he doesn't do anything.
And here you have
He stands there and looks at the camera.
It's
Looks
all
menacing.
about him and what he's doing. And you're like, wow, this character is important. And it's from this terrible Star Wars holiday special that nobody got to see
He's
again.
wielding
That's
a
not
gun
Clone
that
Wars?
No, it's not Clone Wars at all. No.
His
And
gun
it's
looks like a
very-
giant pitchfork or a
does.
tuning fork,
Yep,
rather.
yep.
And it is very like if you haven't seen, are you actually we're eating jelly beans now. If you haven't seen Heavy Metal, it's that
Ralph
animation
Bashki
style. Yes.
style
It's
animation.
that
yeah.
style, but not that caliber.
But at that point in the special, it's a welcome reprieve from the onslaught of crap you've been subjected to.
Because at this point
Watching
we
the Itchy and Scratchy show.
Oh my and it really is just watching Chewbacca's poor family be harassed repeatedly by soldiers and all of this stuff going on and people just wandering up to them and them just going, how are we going to make it through? And
So
we
this
don't
is
know
when
if
their
Dad's
house
alive.
is getting looked at, right? The stormtroopers are in their house, and she says, "Hey, go
Ransacking
watch
the
a
Right.
show or something."
They keep ransacking the house. All this stuff is going on. Poor Lumpy's having the worst time ever.
They
Things
tear
keep
apart Lumpy's stuffed animals just to
Bantha,
torment him.
yeah,
Right.
Just pull the head off.
They're just terrible people that are harassing this
That
family.
Empire. Boo.
Yep.
And you're just like, at this point, you're like,
However,
oh.
I've sided with them by this point. Get them.
And at this point, don't you also feel like if you're looking at it from a holiday special thing, there's not much joy going on. It's like there's nothing happy. It's really sad. The family keeps getting harassed. It's very Anne Frankish. It's not happy at all. You're like, this poor Wookiee family is just getting abused. And then, there'll be, then it makes you feel a little bit like, well, no wonder Grandpa Wookiee's sitting there, like, hanging out with VR red tube. Right? No, I'd be drinking, too, in a bar someplace. Nothing is happy at all in this universe. And you're just like, oh, can we do something else? We don't know if Dad's going to make it home. We think he's dead. We think Dad might be dead. He's not responding to everything. He's running
Spice.
Yeah,
oh wait,
no, that's
show.
Dune. That's Dune.
Wrong show.
It's not a happy universe at this point, but you're still going, yay for the holidays. Maybe not. Maybe not. So, I mean, and then we get through the cartoon, and then we get to we power through at this point. Don't you think if you're watching it now live? You haven't turned the channel yet, right? You're still we're here now.
Hulk and Wonder Woman aren't on. There's
right,
nothing
so you
else.
might as well stay here now.
That was back when you had to get up and walk across the room to change the channel.
Possibly get a pair of pliers if the knob had broken off the TV.
Oh,
yes,
the rabbit ears.
So you power through the Boba Fett cartoon part of it, and then we've had we do get finally. Oh wait, let me back it up.
Sure,
we do Gallahan's now back. Because I know you still have your crush. You still have your crush on Carrie Fisher. And then, so we're still at this point. A lot of terrible things are still happening. We've had, Luke's popped up here and there. So you're like, okay. We've seen a little bit. They give you hope. They give you, right. Luke pops up and you're like, all right, he looks okay. I got him. I got a little more Han Solo and Chewie showing up. There's bits and pieces of things.
This is still the same
that
show.
That carrot is dangling on the stick
Correct.
in front of you. It's out
You're
there.
like, don't change the channel, everybody. But then, once they finally make it to it, we get to Carrie Fisher. We're like, okay.
Is she high?
So high.
Absolutely.
So high.
And wouldn't
at
you
this
be
point,
if you were in
exactly. By then, don't you just go, I don't blame you for... And Carrie Fisher, another person... where you're like, of course she can sing. She should sing it as a holiday special. We'll give her a song, even though it's not technically Christmas, it's Life Day. She's going to come in and say something. But she's so high, she looks like she is actively hanging on to co-stars to stay upright,
and
is what she looks like.
Looking somewhere off in the distance.
Alderaan!
Fixed gaze. Somewhere.
Let me find that. Yes, we do, Carrie.
A day of harmony.
Leia.
A day of
Don't call her princess.
joy we all can share.
And she sounds fine for being high. And I like the way they work in the actual soundtrack. Yes, we do celebrate.
What was she wearing?
Her Leia outfit.
Which one?
Oh, that's the high note. That's the high note right there.
That is a high note.
Is she wearing like cinnamon muffin ears? Because you smell like cinnamon muffins today, by the way.
And I should point out too that in the TV special, the hair buns were very obviously fake.
Yeah. They did not put a lot of effort into it. They were like, here's the earmuffs.
The tree they were singing around. As was the painting of the Wookiee home planet.
Yeah. It's so cheesy.
Yeah.
So cheesy. And I mean, you really need to go, I'm a Star Wars fan and I like people. I will come out to a live showing of this. You have to be in a room with other like-minded people who could sit there and go, I understand it's awful, and I have powered through awful into I now love it.
I mean,
and that's how I feel about it now.
If you made it all the way through episode 1, this will be a breeze.
It's true.
Because it's like because I had seen it before, but the first time when I had a chance to come and see it at one of Chris's show, I was like, I like it so much more now because it is fun to see other people go. This is how I personally made it into a drinking game. This is where people that can quote along to different parts of it. It makes it so much more fun, and you really should go out and see it around somebody else, and you go, this is the best trash I've ever seen.
We say it's the safest way to watch the worst thing possible.
Right.
And it truly is. And when I was kind of shopping around looking for places to do it after that first year, Bryant Lake Bowl was the only one that was interested. And they've been a great partner throughout the years, and I will never do it anywhere else.
Shouts out to Kim Bartman and her folks.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Kristen Van Loon's been my contact over there for the last 8 years. And it's truly my favorite night of the year. And people have been so generous in donating the toys. We put them all on stage too, so people can see what they've done and accomplished. It's truly taking something like a perceived negative and turning it into something so positive. And really, Disney and Lucas are making money off of this thing now because so many people bring Star Wars toys to this thing.
Yeah, right.
We're seeing them moving the needle there, but it's really great. And I just appreciate the support over the years from so many people and turning this into a real community event. And like I said, the 501st Legion has taken this thing and just run with it.
And they come and they look so great, and they take a lot of photos, and that's really great. And we're
When is it?
Pardon?
When is it coming up, or is it?
This year it's Wednesday, December 16th,
Okay.
and
Well-timed.
that is by design.
Yeah.
They gave me that date, so it is the day before Episode 7
Sure.
releases. So I'm thinking
amazing.
Star Wars fever will
Yes.
be at an all-time
That's
high.
And there's 3 showings that day, so you
We're
have
doing
lots
3
of
shows this year.
opportunities.
Yep. Yep,
Because
absolutely.
last year you did 2? Okay.
We usually do 2. We did 3 one year where we included one show as a sing-along. So we
Okay.
handed out
Nice.
lyrics to all the songs.
Nice.
I wasn't too eager to do that again.
But the other thing you do too is that you have other local partners, like they have a great poster series that you can get as well. So that where you have people like the folks over at They.
So yes, the third year I think it was my friend Clint Lugert, who's a graphic designer. They design. He volunteered to do a poster, and we started doing a poster that we would release with the series every year. And this year we're expanding it and turning it into a poster show. So we have 5 local artists that are doing posters for the event this year. I'm super excited. I love how we can pull in other elements from the community and just showcase people's talents around such a dog.
You got to dress it up, man.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's definitely lipstick on a pig. It's but it's a very pretty pig by the time we get to your event. It's fantastic.
So Clint has curated the show this year. It's Brock Davis, Sam Shuna, Alex Grindling, who I'm not familiar with, Tim Holly, who is my partner in Trailer Trash and all those things, and then my brother, Sam Scheller, is an artist as well, and I'm excited to see what these guys come up with. It's always fun to see their interpretation of the Star Wars Holiday Special in print. So.
Is it online ticketing or at the door?
Nope.
Or?
This year I'll be there all day, and you can come in early and get the ticket for the showtime that you want. You just give me the toy, I'll give you the ticket. So that's kind of how we do it to manage traffic there. But it does sell out fast because it's not a huge theater.
No, it's like
Right.
100 seat ish.
Yes.
It's like 80.
Yep.
yeah. But it's so worth it. It's so fun to go there and see everybody show up. And so,
Do not bring food. Do not bring tiny loaves of bread.
No.
This is a toy drive. It's for Toys for Tots. New
But Brian Lake Bowl
unwrapped
already
toys.
has food for you. So basically, you just go up to the bar.
Oh,
and
I'm
just-
sorry. No, people have
People
brought me
think
like
it's a food
canned
drive.
Oh, my
goods
God. Yeah,
they
or
think it's a
tiny
food drive.
loaves of bread or crackers.
For the donation
Right.
piece of it?
So
Oh,
yes, it is
yeah,
a
don't do
Toys for
that.
Tots event. We'll have the Marines will be there. The 501st Legion will be there.
Marines, you say?
Yes, absolutely. In their dress blues, sir. Yes.
Oh, well then.
And so I'm going to make it to the early show this year, and so I'm just excited that you still do. I mean, year 9. I know you've expanded sometimes out of market as well, and like expanded to some other places.
Yes, and to me, really, that would be the greatest thing is to see this thing take off. It's really a show in a box at this point, and you can work with the 501st Legion in your community. If you find that supportive venue, it's really easy. I'm happy to send out the DVD to anybody who will take it, but I love the idea of, again, using this as a Toys for Tots event to show this curiosity that still somehow people aren't aware of. Like, is it a real
Right.
thing? But yeah, last year we did Fargo and Duluth, and we're gonna try and do Denver and La Crosse, Wisconsin this
Nice.
year, and we'll see how it goes. But I would love for this thing to just kind of take off and be its own unique thing. Yeah.
And we'll have to check in again when you have one of your other fantastic additional programs going on at the Mall of America. And I'm sorry, Chris, I know you're not a fantasy football person, but we do have to bring people up to speed really quickly.
Get at it.
On our fantasy football challenge.
Does
And
anybody
so-
have the squirrel on their team?
No, the squirrel.
Oh, yeah,
the
no.
squirrel, like, no.
Like, what? No. Like, is that a nickname?
And Chris, just so you know, the way that we have been running the Fantasy Football Challenge here on Your Geek Show is that it is a challenge between us and our friends over at our rival podcast, Three Guys Talking. We started this challenge at the beginning of the season, and the way that it works is that we are competing against their team to see who has the most overall points at the end of the season. So each team is comprised of the 4 members of the show, plus 2 additional members that are helping us out. And so ours is our friend, actor and comedian Greg Berman, and our friend Jody Rylander, Moose from the Minnesota Vixen, are on our team as well, against 3 Guys Talking. And so as of last week, so here are the scores. We've been going, at first, when we first started, way back during week 1, Your Geek Show was smoking the 3 Guys Talking. And then because of some injuries and some other things that happened, now it is definitely more neck and neck. And so after last week's games, we are at 3 Guys Talking, have 6,529 points. And Your Geek Show has 6,512 points. Oh,
No way.
Yeah.
We're that close.
Yeah, so 3 Guys Talking are now in the lead by 17 points. We have 5 weeks left. And so it is much closer.
Anybody's game.
Yes, and so we're in it, and we are basically we are competing for bragging rights. And the other thing that we agreed to, which I think works out better for us if we end up winning, the losing team will perform the winning team's theme show at a public venue their theme song at a public venue of the winning team's choosing.
Like the Rotunda at Mall of America?
Well, if we
No,
is that what you want? Because we'll
do it.
Yeah, and our whole thing is that if we end up winning, we have to come up with a theme song, because we kind of don't really have one. But Jeremy said,
I already wrote one.
"Oh, you did? Okay, so you're ready. So we're all ready
Wrote a song?
For them or
for
for
us. No, they have one. They're ready.
No, I don't have one for us.
We
but
need one for us.
We'll get some nice liquor.
Dude, Messerschmitt.
We'll
Another
go down
round
Mr.
of
Smith,
grappa.
Jeremy Messer, he offered
No,
to
we'll
help.
get some nice liquor. We'll show up at Jeremy's door. We'll get him drunk, and then we'll turn the tape recorder
Okay.
on.
Gappo, the
work on it.
Italian version.
Get
the not
big
$20.
grappa.
I'll get the $60 one.
I'll chip in.
Yeah, and so so that is what we work on. Which they have one of their members is actually in a gigging band. So that would actually be fun for us if we manage to get that. So we'll see. 5 weeks left, team. We just have to rally, get on board.
I still have
for
the
you.
throne, though.
Yes, Nick
I mean,
Hotep is doing very
injuries
well.
basically just
You make it sound like we
destroy
have
my
any
team.
control over this whatsoever.
We
It's
do.
not- We don't.
We have a
Who
lot of
is
control
in-
after
who's-
it.
Who has the throne
Just
over the whole
because you're
league?
not paying attention. This is the problem here, Chris. This is why we have this fight every week. I'm actively paying attention to my team. They're doing well. Nick Hotep.
we pick the people we think will do the best. And
But
then
you have to
hope
actually-
we can trust them.
Well, yes, but
Mine's
you have to
doing
actually
super
pay
well. What are
attention
you
to it.
talking about?
And Nick Hotep is in first place in the overall
But you
league.
have no control over. This is a skill crane. This is not a game.
I control my naked players.
Is this like the Dungeons and Dragons version of football?
a bit.
No, this is Dungeons and Dragons for people who used to beat up the people who played Dungeons and Dragons.
God, there's no beating up going on at all. But here's the thing where I keep trying to explain to Callahan, the strategy gets in place because you do have to decide who am I going to play this week, who am I going to put on the bench. You have to pay at least attention to see what they have been doing.
That's
and
exhausting.
So, yes, it is, and it's
am
like
I
that's the
gonna
whole point.
drop the claw over the stuffed
Yeah,
penguin or the football?
At this point, you got 5 weeks, voice lessons. Get ready to sing that
No,
song.
we are going to win. We're going to pull it all out. We're going to pull it together.
Well,
It'll be fine.
Angie's coming in 2 weeks, so I'll
I'll
get her phone and
looking
and she'll
forward-
have some trades.
looking forward to our guests that are coming in the next couple of weeks. So, Chris, you are going to be followed up. We are going to be talking ice fishing next week.
Did you say the scores? I tuned out.
Eminently more exciting
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the Star Wars
We're
holiday.
18 points behind.
So we are talking. We are trying to be very topical with our Midwestern friends, and so we are going to do ice fishing next week. And our guest geek next week is our friend John Haynes. He is a tournament angler, fishing fanatic, and former host of the North American Fisherman Show. And so he's going to come and talk to us about ice fishing. And then after that, we are actually joined by two members of our rival podcast over at Three Guys Talking. So Stubby J will be here as well. He is their
Keep
lead.
it friendly.
And then well, you know,
Stealing
it's
their
big.
phone.
And then they're basically their counterpart to Nikahotep, Andy, their team Ginger over there is going to be coming to join us.
His
And-
new name's Angie, by the way.
No, it's
We
not.
changed his name.
Who we?
Well, we changed it on the show, and I told Jake about it.
We didn't change it.
yeah.
I was drunk on absinthe and said it
Right,
incorrectly.
and I told Jake about it, and he loved it, and so they call him Angie now.
But this is also
Worse
the thing.
things have happened. when people get drunk on
That is true. And so the thing about Andy is that Andy was like, hey, I want to come on the show. We'll bring you on the show. And I'm like, yeah, come on the show. And then Jake's like, if you need somebody to come on the show, I'll come on the show too. Which I totally understood, because Lord knows I wouldn't let Nick go over there on his own and be like, oh, no, I'm coming with. Somebody needs to police this. It'll be fine.
You let me go on my own.
Well, she trusts you.
No, I did not let you go on here. I met you there, and then once things did not go awry, I left.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Would you let me in a room with 4 men by myself?
She left me there.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he's all right. That's all fine. So we will have that coming for the next couple of weeks. And so what else can we expect once we get through these Star Wars holiday special events? Do you have anything else fun coming up at the theaters in the Mall of America or at the mall?
Nothing that I can speak about, but
Okay.
Monday we'll probably have something locked in.
He's looking
Nice.
at me because we're working on something together.
Ah, nice. Yes, that is the...
team up.
We as in TCFF, not Jaden and Chris.
But maybe Jayton and Chris will cook something up
Absolutely.
for the future.
Which
perfect.
one of you is Superman and which one is Batman?
We're Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Yeah. We just showed up and nobody knows why.
Who are they with?
Let me be Aquaman and show up in the last 30 seconds.
There we go. All right. So we will look forward to checking in with that. And so, Chris, we will put the link to the Star Wars Holiday Special event that you were doing on our Facebook and our Twitter. Do you have a website for it itself or just the Facebook invite?
Just the Facebook invite right
Okay.
now. But thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's a total blast. I hope people can make it out. And if not, watch it on YouTube and throw a toy in someone's bin.
There we go. That is an excellent idea. So for everybody listening, we make sure that you always follow us on social media. We're at Your Geek Show on Twitter. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/YourGeekShowMN. And you can always go to our website, which is www.yourgeekshow.com. We'll make sure we put links up to all of this information. Again, next week, we're going to be talking ice fishing, and I already have a very fantastic, interesting beverage, so I think that'll be great next week. Thanks to our people that help us out, Custom T-Shirt Central, Chris McDuffie Photography, and as always to Jayton and his fine folks over at the Twin Cities Film Festival. And let's see, in the meantime, I think, why don't we go out with Perfect Strangers today? So I'm Miss Shannon here with Jayton Satia, Rob Callahan, and Nika Hotep. Thank you again to our guest geek this with Christopher Grapp from the Mall of Americas, and we will see you guys next week.
Looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change. No matter